So you want to start on YouTube, but you don't have the time for fancy editing and learning filmmaking. You feel like this is such a big and daunting task. You know what? There is good news. You don't have to film yourself from 100 different kind of angles, and you don't have to learn and master Hollywood level filmmaking in order to make it here on YouTube. See, there's a new, let's say, wave of content coming to YouTube. It's good news for you and for me that maybe want to be content creators or just want to get our message out or just say something, feel like we want to have a voice here on YouTube, but maybe it's not editing that's our favorite thing to do. In the last year or 2 years or so, a rise of new type of content creators on YouTube has really gained a lot of traction and gained a lot of views. And those are maybe almost without editing, maybe slightly a bit editing, but it feels kind of unedited. We could go as far as to say it feels kind of raw. I think personally it's because at the age of AI, let's call it that everything can look perfect. Even how you record it or what camera and so on, everything can be made to look perfect. And some of these too perfect things tend to look a bit more AI-ish, and sometimes we just want a more personal connection. Right now, simplicity, authenticity, and being there present on camera is a winning on YouTube. People have an easier time to connect with you if you are present on camera and if you are talking to them on the other side of the camera. And I think that people have a less than easy time to connect with something that's too overproduced, because we went to YouTube to see this content and not Netflix. We want to see somebody who made this content themselves and not a whole production team. There are some things that you need in order to start filming yourself. Most of us have this device, this devilish device in our pockets. But the good thing is that this can record us for YouTube if that's something we want to do. If you want to turn your content consumption into content creation, this device can actually help you. I would split the devices you could use up into three different categories. The first thing is you could use a phone like this, and then you could get one of these clamps. These comes in all different shapes and sizes and different price levels. This is something that can be put on a tripod. I failed to mention that a tripod is a very good idea, but if you're filming yourself with a phone, then you can get a small thing like this that can actually be put on almost everything. Couldn't balance it here, but imagine this being on the top of books or something, then it could actually be a very good start. Now notice how I'm turning it this way. It's because you want to film yourself with the cameras that's on this side of your phone. Maybe you have one of the newer versions of either Android or iPhone that has a very good camera on this side, but they are never as good as these are. So you want to film yourself with this. And there's a trick to do this, to film yourself with a phone. Imagine that you had, I don't have a mirror right now, but imagine this was a mirror. So I could put up a mirror on the other side, and then I could have this here, and then I could actually see what I'm seeing on the screen. I've also seen this. If I can find one of them, then I can link it in the description. I've seen some of these holders here that has a tiny mirror on it, and even you can get a tiny mirror on the cover. Or you could just find that mirror, plastic mirror, and glue it onto your phone cover, and then you could actually see yourself. I like to not being able to see myself. Once I framed the picture, framed the still, I feel like I'm getting distracted by filming myself, and I don't feel like I can be as authentic, because when I see myself, I'm imagine myself like someone else sometimes, and I feel like I'm starting to speak louder than I normally would. I start to do all of sort of things that I don't normally would when I have a conversation with someone. The next level is I don't have one of these anymore. The next level is what I say in an action camera. So if you want to make videos where you walk around in the city or in nature, or if you're traveling, or if you just are in movement when you are making your videos, then the best, you can also use your phone for this. But if you want to step it up a bit, the next best thing is I've had once something called an Osmo Pocket. I had the first version. Now there's an Osmo Pocket 3 or the Osmo Action. I think the Osmo Action 5 is called. Those are very good because those can be connected to a wireless microphone. And this is the next step up after this one, because in the Osmo Action, I think there's a creator pack that costs around $500, and in that pack you will get a microphone, you will get the Osmo, you will get a selfie stick, and you will have everything you need to start filming yourself. And I'll say that is a good enough camera for 99% of all people out there. Even though I have 3 very expensive cameras, I'm considering buying one of these because they are easy to get around. The next step is to get one of these, a mirrorless camera, either like the one I have here or the one I have there. Now, the mirrorless camera is a jungle in itself. If you don't want to, if you're not interested, or if you're not like really into cameras, then I wouldn't say that that's the way to go. That's why I'm recommending everyone to take either a phone or maybe the Osmo Action Pro or the Osmo Pocket 3, because those would work for you even though if you're not into cameras. I'm into cameras, and this camera that's filming me right now is called a Sony a7 IV, and this is a Sony CVE10. This camera right here, there's a version 2 of this, a CVE10 Mark II, but right now this CVE10 is on sale because the second version is out. So if you could grab one of these, I think it's for $500 even. And then a lens, I really like the Sigma 16mm 1.4. It has a good wide field of view, and that's a really good lens to like get this background blur that many of you want. The black background blur, the highest quality of picture, is of course obtained in these cameras. I highly recommend Sony, but there is also a new Fuji camera right now called XM5 that's in the same price range that should also be good, but I don't know about the autofocus. And when you are filming yourself, the one thing that you want to rely on 100% is the autofocus. That's why when I put this camera down, I have 100%, like I rely 100% on that this autofocus will never fail me. That's why I changed to Sony from my other camera brands. I've had Nikon, I've had Blackmagic, and so on, but I want to be able to film myself. That's why I chose Sony. Now the tip here is to film yourself. The one thing you want is natural light. Behind the camera right now is a window. Windows provide such good natural light. Sometimes the window, if the sun is blasting in through the windows, it could be too much of a natural light. So sometimes if you have a almost see-through curtain or something else, maybe a white sheet you could put out in the window, it is even better. You don't have to invest in any natural light. And if you're out and about and walking around, then make sure that you are not filming against the sun. Don't have the sun behind you. Have the sun either like this way in front of you or straight in front of you. You can play around with the angles. But if you're walking with the phone or the Osmo that we talked about before, and if you're out, then make sure that the sun is lighting you and not from behind, because then you could come off all dark. There's something that we can, there's some tips that I would like to share in order to succeed with videos that is not edited too much. I really feel like editing is complicating things more than it has to be. It's even what I would say overrated. I get that sometimes it makes it much easier to tell a story, and sometimes it's necessary. But I'm also certain that it can be almost you can almost cut most of the editing out. See, there is something that you need to in order to succeed without editing. You of course need to speak to the camera like you are speaking to a friend, and that's what I hope I'm trying to do here today. I'm just talking and explaining this to you as I would explain everything to one of my friends who would start a channel today. What would they need to know in order to start? That we need to know what type of camera to use and how to film themselves, and also how to succeed without editing. And that's one of the key reasons that editing is still here, and you still need it. You still need some basic editing skills, because being able to talk unedited for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and even 25 minutes is something that you need to train. You can't just start the camera the first day on your journey and expect yourself to be able to just talk and talk and talk without being able to, or without having to cut something out. The best thing is that if you only want to cut something out, even the YouTube editor can help you here. If you upload a video to YouTube afterwards, you don't have to publish it first, but afterwards, in the left-hand side, there is something called editor, and then you can trim off the beginning and the end. I always say that trimming off beginning and ends is the first way to start. I learned I taught my son, I taught him how to do this. He's 9. He can do it in CapCut with just 2 days of instructions. So if he can do it, then you can do it too. He also started to cut off long breaks, and if he says something in the video that's completely wrong, then he also knows now how to cut that away. That's the simplest cuts and editing you need. The next 2 things that you also need to be able to is to adjust the volume, because sometimes when you record it, it's too low. So you need to be able to boost the volume in some sort of software. Now, the YouTube editor cannot do that for you. I recommend using something called DaVinci Resolve, because that software is completely free, yet still completely free. There is a studio version, which I have, costs $300, that can do so much more. But you can live with the free version if you only want to cut the ends and split the parts, and even maybe overlay some video and something, and then adjust the volume. The last thing is that you maybe want to be able to put in text like this. Or put in text like this on your video to emphasize some points in your video. Text is the simplest way that we can connect with a video, because it helps us like underline a point, and it helps us just emphasize if there's something important to know about a video. You can also use the editing software to edit in pictures and images or stills of something to emphasize your points, or videos of something that we recorded if you're doing reviews, or if you're doing gardening, and if you're doing cooking and so on. Many of you would want to record yourself doing this kind of doing this action that I'm talking about. If there's a video of how to do something, or how to repair your bike, how to do something in the garden, how to do something in the kitchen, then you want to record that action. And you want to put that in front of the most of the video, because it's not the talking head part here. That's the most important thing. That's the action in itself. So the 3-step formula to succeed in a no editing video era that's here on YouTube is: 1, make a good hook and a good intro. Don't start the video off with saying hi and welcome to another YouTube video. No, either start directly into the video, or explain why everyone needs to watch this video, because this is the best video on the topic, or something like that. Make a good hook. Number 2 is maintain and keep on point in the video. It's the best thing you could do is either do a list, but even better if you can tell everything as a story, because storytelling tends to keep people hooked from the hook and all the way through. If you can hook them in the beginning, then the story can lead them all the way to the end. Number 3 is that you can end up this with a call to action. My call to action for you would to be, now let's get started creating a YouTube video. And I of course hope that you're going to get started. And just the last thing, the fourth step is just as simple. I know there's no editing, but it's just simple. Boosting your audio, cutting away unnecessary stuff, and maybe learning some text overlays. I hope this video helps you to get started on YouTube, and I hope to see you in the future in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.